everyone, it's Leanne. Welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to share with you the travel sketches that I did last week when I went on vacation. So I did release a video last week. If you didn't see it, I'll link it in a card. And it shows building my sketch travel kit that I put together for watercolor. And I also have a new micro palette that I purchased, and I took that on vacation too. That was part of my kit, and I'll link that in a card also if you want to see me setting up the watercolor set and what colors I picked and what I took on vacation. Just a quick note before I begin, I do have this original watercolor painting of this sweet little bird in my Etsy shop now, and it's available for purchase. And I do have one that I'm adding soon of this bird here, and I'm just going through. My goal this year is to add some original paintings to my shop. And so yeah, I'm not making prints or copies of these, so once they're gone, they're gone. So if you'd like to check those out, I'll put a link in the description below as well for my Etsy shop. Now let's get into the travel sketches. So this is the book I took with me. It's the Stillman and Byrne Beta series, and this is a mixed media book, but I used it primarily just for watercolor. And so we'll get on the first page here. So this was the first drawing that I did to start my adventures. So the night before our trip, we drove up to Toronto, and we flew out of Toronto to Mexico, but we stayed in an airport hotel, and it's so cool. This hotel that we typically stay in, the airplanes land right by the hotel, and so they look as if they're going to land in the parking lot of the hotel. It's the coolest thing. If you're scared of planes, it's probably not cool, but I love aircrafts and planes and stuff. And so I drew this picture of one of them landing a Euro wing. So this was it coming into land, and it came over our heads. And then this was, I turned around and caught the tail end of it as it was going down to the runway. And this was just a black and white sketch of the same plane. The night before we flew, it was also Valentine's Day, ironically. So we all booked reservations at the Keg restaurant, which is a steakhouse here in Canada. And it's just a chain steakhouse, but oh, the blue cheese steak is so good. So we all went there. There was a group of 42. I don't think everyone had reservations for the Keg, but a big number of us did. And so this is just some drawings from my dinner. I had a glass of wine, and then they give you this little decanter as well. And my dinner, which this looks like it's oddly proportioned and it looks small, but it was a ginormous dinner plate, and my food was all kind of to one side for whatever reason, but I drew how it looked. And so I had the blue cheese steak, and I had the mashed potatoes, and it came with some beets and I think it was green beans mixed in. And then the next morning we flew out very, very early. We had a 6:15 flight down to Mexico. And so when we got to the airport, my mom surprised us because she took the group down, so she surprised me and my aunt and some cousins with a private transfer to our resort. So the private transfer included a private van that took us, air-conditioned van, and they gave us Corona as well. So we had a nice little drink while we had a scenic drive to our resort, which was fun. These are some other snapshots from the next day. I did take my Tamagotchi with me, and so I purchased this little, I guess, mermaid themed Tamagotchi. I thought it would be very themed well for the trip. And so it died like right after we left because I was quite busy on vacation, and so I just kept feeding it full of treats. So it died while I was on vacation. I just kept feeding it full of snacks and treats when it was hungry because I was so busy, and I just kept throwing it in the safe. And the poor thing, yeah, so I made it through 3 Tamagotchis before I got home. And so that's the Tamagotchi that I drew. And then this image here is looking out the plane just as we were coming into land. So this was the water line here, and there were clouds. It was hard to depict, and I don't do a lot of sun or sky pictures, so I'm not very good at these, but there were clouds below the horizon line because we were still above the horizon line at this point. And yeah, it looked pretty cool coming in, but it was really hard to depict that, but that is what this image is showing. This is a scene from the first day, the first full day at the resort. So we found a spot that was kind of off to the side that we had lounge chairs that we could access. And so this sketch is just my mom in her floaty, and she decided or offered to take my sippy cup or my tumbler over to the swim up bar and to get our first drink at the resort. So this is just the poolside and her swimming along to do that. In Mexico, there was a lot of birds that we don't have at home, and I do regret that I did not bring binoculars because I had to keep putting on my glasses to see what birds were in the trees, and you could hear them, and they were so cool to hear and look different. And so next time I'm definitely taking binoculars. But these were some of the birds that we saw. These great-tailed grackles, which is kind of funny because we do have grackles here at home, but they don't have these long sweeping tails. So that was the different part, I guess, of them. But there was lots of these around. And then we had this little great kiskadee. And a lot of the birds in Mexico that we saw were yellow, and yellow I love, so I just loved these birds. They were so pretty. The one morning we woke up and there was monkeys beside our pool, I guess, like we had swim out rooms, so across on the other side of the pool were these monkeys, and at one point they were on my cousin's balcony, and they were so cool to see, and they were just kind of chilling around and everyone was taking pictures, and then they just wandered off. Our room was actually across from the buffet for breakfast as well, so I don't know if maybe they were looking for a little bite. But I'll put some pictures in as well so you can see what they look like. And around the resort were these animals called Codys, or I think the full name is something like Coatimundi or something. And they're kind of a cross between a raccoon and a badger, and probably an anteater. People were talking about anteaters because they have these long snouts. And so they would just rummage through garbage 24/7 looking for food. And they were very nimble, and they would just hop into the garbage holes and then come right back out. And it was like it did not even faze them, like they were walking down the street. It was super easy for them. And I noticed on some of the garbages there was spots to put your drinking cups when you were done, and they would pick them up after. And the Codys would pick up the drinking cups and drink out of them like it was nothing, like they were humans. And there were so many of them, and they had these tails that just kind of stood up in the air with a little hook on them. And so you'd see tails all over the place, these little Codys, and there was babies and stuff. They were really cute, and they didn't bother anybody. They kept to themselves for the most part. The last couple days we were there, they started fighting. We were seeing a couple walking to the restaurant at night to go for dinner, and they were fighting in the trees. And when we came back, they were still fighting, but there was 4 of them instead of 2. So yeah, I guess they get a little rowdy at night. There was also lots of kitty cats on our resort, and so it kind of made me miss my kitty at home. We saw this one kitty here, and she was like a tortoiseshell, and she was pregnant. So my mom had taken cat treats to give to all the kitties there, which was a great idea. So the first time we took the cat treats, we were walking to dinner along the path, and the cats kind of sat on the side of the path by these stone statues. And so my mom gave some treats to, we saw like 3 cats on the way. And so when we were coming back from dinner, we'd like had a big dinner, because it was a long dinner because we did a specialty restaurant that time. And so we were out for a couple of hours. And when we came back, that same cat was sitting on the path, and it was dark out and you couldn't see it. And then all of a sudden, it probably saw my mom from like 50 feet away and came right up to her and was like, meow, meow, meow. And so she was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, oh, that cat remembers you. So she gave the kitty some more treats. And then the next night we went to dinner, we repeated the process. And then by the 3rd night, it was like we would be walking back from dinner and my mom would go, oh, there's my cat. It was so cute. And so this poor cat that was fully very pregnant, my mom dumped out the rest of the treats that she had left the day before we were scheduled to leave, and gave it to this sweet little kitty who was very grateful, I'm sure, for the little treats that that mom brought to her. But yes, there was lots of little kitties there. Lots of animals at this resort. So this was a scene from the beach. And this, I just thought the composition was really nice. They had a beach stand for the lifeguard, and then there was this one man standing there looking out over the sea, and it was just a nice picture. He was the only one in that frame on the beach, and I just thought the composition was really nice. We didn't spend too much time at the beach because it was pretty windy. We were near Cancun, and I guess that's typical of Cancun to be windy like that. So we mostly spent our time at the pool, and because we had the swim out rooms, we spent a lot of time in that area and just hanging out with everyone else in our group that went as well, because we were all our rooms were all in a line, which was nice. This is a view of our room. So again, we had all the swim out rooms at the bottom, and then there was like my cousin, and then I believe this was our room. We had someone in between us, but then there was our room, and then my cousin's, or my aunt's room, my cousin and my other cousins were here. So we all just kind of congregated here all day, and then the buffet was over here. And if you went down here, there was a swim up bar and stuff. So, and everyone else in our group. So it was so nice. It was beautiful. It was probably the best resort I've ever been to. And it was just an amazing, amazing vacation. In this scene here, this is our fly home day. Unfortunately, it was sad to leave. The weather was great. The entire time we were there, it was 30 degrees. This is boarding our flight. So typically in Caribbean countries, they don't have like the sky bridges or whatever they're called that go out to the aircraft. They just have the stair cars or the stair wheel things. And so we were actually sitting at the front of the plane, but we were all lined up here on the tarmac. And so I snapped this picture of this man walking towards the back and then everyone else in a line here to board the aircraft. And this was our Sunwing flight that we flew home on. So as a plane fan, it's super cool to visit these countries and be on the tarmac with the aircraft and get these incredible views and photos that you don't normally get at bigger airports. And so that's the end of my travel sketches. This was actually the start of a new challenge that I'm doing. So I'm doing the 100-day project challenge, and it's 100 days of whatever you want. I decided to just do journaling or sketches or any kind of art, just trying to just keep making. I drew every day on vacation, which was so nice. I made it a point to put time aside every morning after breakfast for myself to do this. And I just continued with it when I came home. And so, yeah, I've went right into that challenge now. And this is something I painted this morning, which I'm really proud of. I don't normally use gouache. I do love gouache, though. This is just using jelly gouache. I'd like to get some professional grade gouache, but I don't have any yet. And then I just painted my coffee mug as well. And it was on these little coasters that I made. That's in the picture here. So, yeah, that was pretty fun. I'm going to do another video coming up next. I have just finished a sketchbook, and so I'm going to do a full sketchbook tour. That's this is, again, I mentioned, is just on mixed media paper, and this sketchbook that I finished is full watercolor. I mean, a full cotton, 100% cotton for watercolor. So there's some exciting paintings in there. So if you would like to see that video as well, be sure to subscribe so you're notified as that video is posted. And if you did enjoy this view of my travel sketches, this quick look at my travel sketches, please give the video a thumbs up because that helps support my channel. And again, if you're interested in any of my art or stickers or the prints or the originals that I mentioned, a link to my Etsy shop will be in the description below. Thank you so much for watching.